All right. Welcome. Episode 44, Digital Download. We're here. We got Dan, Don, Berlin.
Hello.
Nicholas, Nick Negri.
How's it going?
And we got returning challenger, David Rodriguez Pepe.
Hola.
That's how David hasn't been on since episode, 6. We weren't even doing video when David was on. That was back when World of Warcraft. We were talking about World of Warcraft, so that was August.
Yeah, a long time
Wow.
ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. How have you been, David?
Swell.
Swell. That's what I like to hear, man.
Just swell.
Still playing some video games?
Always.
All right, good. That's what I like to hear.
Never not.
Never not. Never not.
All right, so we got a bit to talk about this week. I would like to start with something nice and loose. We were talking about August back in the day when David was on. Overwatch had 15 million players. It's a big number.
Yep.
That, doesn't go unnoticed. Recent reports came out that they now have 30 million players.
That's
So they've doubled their player base since August.
That is insane.
And they're 30 million players in the first year of the game. The game will be a year old in a couple weeks.
That's
So
actually,
I think that's pretty insane. I don't think we've really seen any sort of do you even call it a phenomenon? What do you call this? Just
I'd argue it's
a
kind
good
of
game?
I'd argue it's kind of a phenomenon. I mean, doubling your player base in under a year is a crazy achievement.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've more than doubled their player base in under a year because they went from 0 to 30 million.
So yeah.
But yeah, doubling it in such a short amount of time, I think it's definitely worth commending, and that's totally awesome. And they're very good at keeping the content flowing. They're
Yeah, every 2 months or something.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They're finishing up their Uprising event, which I finally got to play a bunch of, and it's pretty good. There's actually story there. There's they give you a sort of a prelude while you're loading in, and they tell you about how it's Tracer's first mission ever for the for Overwatch, and they're going in to destroy the Omnic Uprising. They're called Null Sector. It's just a little cool.
I was actually pretty surprised by Uprising because I thought it would be a wave based, fighting robots.
Very
thing.
much like the Halloween update was.
Like the Halloween update, or there's the robot mode in Team Fortress 2 that was
Right.
kind of just waves.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there's objectives and different objectives throughout the whole what is it, 20 minutes?
About.
But I had a lot of fun playing it actually.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's they just take elements from multiplayer, go here and capture this point, and then capture this point, and then move the payload, and then there's mini boss battles. They'll throw a Bastion or a Norisa or some completely new enemies that you've never seen before. They're exclusive to this mode. The Splicers, the little guys that shoot laser beams at the payload.
Yeah.
There are these big giant nuclear bomb-esque type things that will try to attack.
Yeah, those were crazy.
And it's fun. And what I really like that they did is that they made so there's the story mode, which is you have to play as Reinhardt, Tracer, Mercy, or
Torbjorn.
Thank you. But then they also made an all heroes mode where just go and story doesn't matter. Just go and pick whatever 4 heroes you want and survive.
Yeah, see what you can do.
It's hard. I tried playing with community member Max. We tried doing it on Legendary, which is the hardest difficulty, and we immediately that's professional Overwatch players gotta play that mode. It's crazy. Negs, you've always been kind of just not interested in Overwatch, which is fine.
Yeah.
You have any plans on ever jumping in?
No.
You see 30 million players. You don't say there's got to be something about this game.
And there is something about the game. I just don't care.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
You'd rather play Paladin.
I like.
I'm actually a Battleborn fan.
Ooh.
Battleborn.
All right.
Negri
The
will
only one.
Yeah.
Negri will have to miss next week's digital download.
I have a question though. So
Sure.
30 million players, is that 30 million people, unique people who have logged into the game over the time, or is that 30 million active players?
It's got to be players who have logged in over the time. I mean,
I
I
wouldn't
could
even
be
say
wrong.
unique because you could have it on multiple consoles.
True, but that's still technically
30 million
technically
copies
be unique
of Overwatch
because
registered use.
Because if you have an Xbox, a PC, and a PlayStation, those will all be unique things because each one has its own sort of registry that you're.
Although
putting your game into.
I'm not sure, and this is something I can double check and get back to you. I have it on PS4, but it's linked to my Battle.net because you can link your account.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious if I bought it on PC if that would count because I'm already linked. My Battle.net ID is already in the system. So that's something. But Mike has it on Xbox and PS4 and plays it on both. So I'm curious if they count something like that, because I'm sure they're both linked to his Battle.net.
Right. And if they're making money off of it, in theory, they should. Like, the money is where you're going to follow things too, right? So if you sell a copy of each one, that counts as a copy sold, so it should be count as a player too.
Right.
Or 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point to bring up. I'm not really sure, but, I mean, it's 30 million.
No, it's great. I'm not trying to take away from it. I was just curious if, like, because it would be even crazier if it was 30 million active players.
Yeah.
Because that's just, like, absurd. Because even in its height, Call of Duty had, like, what, 2 to 5 million active players?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that number offhand. But yeah, I just I like to talk. I like to check in every once in a while on Neg. See how he's feeling on Overwatch.
Test the water.
Test the waters.
I actually uninstalled it off of my hard drive.
That's fair. It's not a huge game though, which is kind of cool. It's only like
40.
40. Oh, I thought it was like 13. Maybe I'm.
With all of the updates and stuff.
Oh, I guess.
Oh, it's not leaving my PlayStation,
not
so I wouldn't know.
But anyway, in other news, speaking of games that are cult classics or phenomenons or whatever word you want to use to describe this next one, Halo 6.
Definitely not a cult classic.
Cult classic. It's becoming a cult classic. Fewer and fewer people are caring about the Halo series. It's going towards cult classic. Just when I say Halo 6, how do you guys feel just off the bat? Just without knowing anything, just...
Gonna get it.
You're gonna get it. All right.
Gonna enjoy it, probably.
David, how do you feel?
I look at that and I go, oh, the one Xbox exclusive I'd ever care about, and then still not buy an Xbox.
Okay, that's
for me. Yeah.
That's fair. Dan, how you feeling on Halo 6?
Well, I only bought Halo 5 for the multiplayer.
Correct.
So, that's about it.
Yeah, we played it. No, we played Master Chief Collection. We didn't even play Halo 5.
Which
doesn't matter.
The better game.
Which is the better game. So, some things have come out that Halo 6 will revolve around Master Chief, and with no additional playable characters like there have been in previous Halos. Not all of them, but Halo 2, Halo 5, Halo ODST you didn't follow, or Reach you didn't follow Master Chief at all.
No,
you did your own thing. This game, they're going to double down on Master Chief because of the reception they got from Halo 5 Guardians, which was that the story was lacking in areas, the characters weren't fully fleshed out. You didn't really care about playing as Locke or his team, or even the team that surrounded Master Chief, unless you went into the expanded universe and you kind of had a background on them. You didn't really, they were there. There were some cool characters, but, overall. Do you think this is the right move for Halo? Do you think doubling down on Master Chief is what would get you more or less excited about Halo 6?
So what I thought they were doing was sort of a callback to the first trilogy of Halo games, where the second one is the one where you play as 2 characters. And then, so the second one of this trilogy, which was Halo 5, is the one where you play as 2 characters. So I thought it was just that. But I guess they were considering doing another character? If this is the conversation that people are having?
Yeah, I think it was... It was kind of, they looked at it and they said, all right, well, how can we, further expand on Halo? How can we make it, how can we innovate? And I think Guardians, for them, the innovation was in the idea that there's these 2 teams going against each other. There are more characters in the mix than just Master Chief or the Arbiter.
Right.
There are these other characters that are involved in this larger picture sort of deal. So I think that going forward, they were going to want to do something like that. What are you thinking, Eggs? Looks like you're thinking hard.
Well, the problem that I had with the extra characters is twofold. First fold is that it felt like they were just adding full teams of characters so that when you played with your 3 other friends, they all had a unique player to play as versus just like copy of Master Chief or
Master
Chief. Random elite. Not the Arbiter, but you're this random elite thing.
Right.
So that to me was just we'll just throw characters in there, give them names, have them minorly developed or whatever, so people have someone to play as. Oh, cool! I get to be Nathan Fillion's character or whatever.
Buck.
But the other problem I had with it is by giving all of these people names and sort of creating these characters, it kind of felt like it was a toy grab as well.
That's fair.
Similar to what and I get to bring up Power Rangers.
Oh, fuck.
But the Power Rangers Wild Force series changed the abilities of the Power Rangers because they were like Wild Force Rangers. They were animals. So they were they would run, and most animals run at a fast speed. So the Power Rangers in Japan, they were able to run at like super speed and catch up to monsters. But in the American version, they couldn't run, so they created the Savage Cycles to sell toys. That was the only reason. They didn't give it a story reason as to why or anything. They were just like, they can't run, so we're going to give them motorcycles, and we're going to sell a bunch of toys.
Before we move on from the toy thing, I'm going to butcher the story, but it's totally the same concept. Beauty and the Beast is based off of a older story. I think it's like a myth. I can't think of the word for it. Folktale. Of this girl who, she ends up in this mansion, and there are all these invisible servants, and there's like a beast or whatever, a creature. And it's a story of Beauty and the Beast. It's what it's based off of.
Beauty is on the inside, or beauty is in the eye of the whole beholder. That's that whole story.
So, but the whole thing was, I guess, when they were having the discussion about turning like this into Beauty and the Beast, they said they can't be invisible servants. They have to be. The reason that they're furniture is because you can sell. You can sell the teacups. You can sell that. So the idea of like, oh well, we can't have invisible servants because we can't sell that. We can't sell merchandise like that. So just the same concept of
that, and it doesn't look good on a movie.
That's true.
Especially
when it's animated, you got a bunch of ghosts
interacting with me.
Yeah, but ghosts aren't as interesting as like haunted teacups.
What about Casper?
Or
exactly.
Headless,
he's one ghost.
Headless Nick or whatever from Harry Potter. He's cool.
Nearly headless. How could you be nearly headless?
Harry Potter was on yesterday.
Oh, God, that was terrifying.
Harry Plopper.
When we were
they skipped immediately over Order of the Phoenix. They went from Goblet of Fire to Half-Blood Prince.
I liked Order of the Phoenix.
So did I.
I didn't get involved in that conversation, but
it's
good. It's one of my favorite books out.
It's good. It's like the best book.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's not good for the freeform audience.
Not good movie, and it's also the longest book and the shortest movie.
Yeah, I think Goblet of Fire is a worse movie though.
It's a more visually pleasing movie though.
Yeah,
maybe because of the trials.
Because of the trials, yeah. The dragons, the swimming, that whole swimming with the mermaid people. Yeah, I mean,
but I can talk Harry Potter all day.
Spoiler alert: Cedric Diggory's death. It's a big deal.
But David Tennant is in Goblet of Fire, so.
Anyway,
he's in like 30 seconds of the movie. It's great.
So so Halo. I mean,
so to get back to Halo,
the two teams. It was just like, let's throw all these underdeveloped characters in there, and like now that they're doubling down on Master Chief. Yes, sure, why not? But
I've already been with them for like 10 years. Might as well. Go another.
How could you what does doubling down even mean? You built the franchise around the character.
It means focusing on.
It's like if Zelda was like,
the spotlight
"Oh, we're gonna double down on Link." Like, yeah, no shit.
You're gonna find out a lot about his backstory this time around.
I mean, maybe the only way that they sell the game is if they like tease that they're gonna take his helmet off. And this is the game where you see his face.
And it's just like a white guy? Yeah, that'd be great.
They've had a lot of time to think about what they're going to make him look like.
Yeah, and I know they're going to fuck it up.
I feel like we've missed the boat on the Master Chief helmet reveal thing. Because, they did it in the Halo 1, Halo 2 days, like early on. Obviously it wasn't as teased for as long, you know what I mean? We live in the age now where that video will be up before the game even comes out. There'll be 40 articles written about it. It'll be all over YouTube, and it'll just be you'll just see on Twitter every 10 articles. Oh, we got a hold of Master Chief's helmet reveal. Like, check it out. And it's just like, all right, well, that's cool. And I don't know. Maybe it takes away. Maybe I'm just being a little cynical, but I feel like if this was done earlier, before every the video game industry and the internet were so like prominent and in your face about these things. Now it's like, Zelda came out and there's 40 articles written. It's like, here's every shrine in Breath of the Wild and how to get to it, and here's all, all this information. Like,
here's what every amiibo does.
It's like
Breath of the Wild. Like, how would you?
It's like all the information is out there almost immediately. Like the mystery is gone. So I feel like with a Halo
but you don't have to look at all.
No, you don't. But it's almost like
it's hard not to.
It's like, yeah, why wouldn't I just? This will take 20 seconds out of my day, and now I don't have to play Halo 6.
Right. Well, that's for reveal, but like. I think the shrines, saying how to get to all the shrines is a bad example because you're going to look at that article, oh, here are all 120 shrines and how to get to them and what to do in them. You don't have to look at that article. You can keep the mystery, and just the only really thing that you're learning from that is that there are 120 shrines. You know how many?
Right. When I meant mystery, I meant kind of the idea that it's part of going into a brand new game is kind of exciting because it's like, everyone's discovering things together. Everyone's, going online and posting. It's like, oh, I found this. Did anybody find this? And you're talking to other people. You're kind of solving the mystery together. But when compiled lists and all these things come out almost immediately, it's like, oh, well, everyone's kind of already figured everything out. I can figure things out for myself, and there's something there for sure. I'm not trying to say that there isn't. It's just sort of, the idea that the community is still finding stuff. And Zelda is more so than other games because people still are, discovering things about Zelda. But a lot of other open world games that have come out and stuff, the mystery is solved. And a big thing with the Dark Souls community especially is that they love when the game first comes out. Everyone trying to figure out what this item does or how to beat this boss and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, once you get into the game and you just want to play the game for the game, that's fine. But there's a lot of people who like that sense of discovery in games, and I feel a lot of the times, people have already figured everything out by the time you get a hold of the game. Because if they have a review copy or whatever, they've got all this information just waiting to be pushed out at you, and then you're like, oh well, all right, everybody figured everything out.
They also get
already.
fed a lot of things too. Like IGN was definitely fed by Nintendo what every amiibo in Breath of the Wild does.
Yeah,
I really find out. Well, maybe they had an intern just sit there and write down everything that comes out when you put the amiibos in.
Yeah, because you can only do them every 24 hours, right? Like once every whatever.
Well, you can do like each one every.
No, I know.
Day, yeah.
But I'm saying so to find out what.
But you could also.
Amiibo did.
But if you figured out that like glitch thing, too, where you hit the amiibo, look in the chest, and then go to your last save, and then drop the amiibo in again, and just take a count.
Oh, to see what's in the.
Oh yeah. Well, then it never happened.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, you wouldn't even need to wait the 24 hours. You could just sit there for, like...
Isn't that even a glitch? It's more like an exploit.
Yeah, sure. Yes, glitch is a bad word, but, it's exactly an exploit.
That's what I did because I fucked up. I put Epona on the top of the mountain.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And
couldn't
get down.
Right next to a divine beast, right? And you couldn't... It kept telling you had to turn around.
Yeah, and it would bring me back.
I was complaining on stream the other day at Mario Kart that it wouldn't use my Smash Amiibos. And it did. I totally just, I must have fucked it up. I think I was putting it on the wrong joystick or whatever. I went
Sounds
in.
about right.
My Smash Amiibos worked. I got my
Sorry,
Mario and Yoshi suit for my Mii Racer, which I'll never use, but...
You have them.
I have them now.
They're
in there.
You can take a funny
They don't have
picture.
a Pikachu one, though, which is fucked up.
Oh, that is fucked
The
up.
hell?
I put Pikachu on there, and they're like, we don't support this amiibo.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Weird.
I don't know, maybe
Nintendo is...
They just want you to be more...
Nintendo is stingy with their own...
They're
within their own games.
Yeah, they're declaring war on Pokemon.
You heard it here first. We broke it. We broke the news, guys. We did it.
Nice.
Is this the Pokemon War that we've heard about in the games?
It's coming to life.
Cool.
Exclusively to 2DS.
Is that a segue?
It could be.
All right.
Well, it would have been cool if we didn't get called out on it. There's a new 2DS out. It doesn't look like an axe or whatever other weird photoshopped images came out when the 2DS first came out.
A wedge.
There was so many different things. My favorite, though, was Villager with an axe, but the blade was the 2DS in this. David, you do not have a 3DS, correct?
No.
Would you be interested in a 2DS? For a cheaper price? At $150?
Yeah, actually. Because the 3DS, I liked the concept, and I thought the 3D was really good for what it was.
Right.
But whenever I played it, I was just like, I would never sit here for hours playing this in 3D. Like, this just hurts.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Like,
they warn you not to do that.
I know, but don't give me what like a 3D product and be like, oh, only a half hour, because that's just not gonna happen.
Once every 24 hours.
In World of Warcraft, the thing loads up. It's like, go outside. No,
no, you're giving me something where I don't have to go outside.
This is why I'm playing World of Warcraft. I don't want to go outside.
So do you feel more compelled to buy this, even though a decent amount more money, but you could get a Switch?
No, I'd rather get a Switch.
You'd rather get a Switch. And that's kind of what I'm curious about. I'm feeling about. If you guys did not have Nintendo Switches or 3DSs, would you feel compelled to want to get the 2DS, or do you think you'd rather just save up the extra money and get a Switch?
I'd rather get a Switch. Just out of sheer, the game that I would really want to play, and probably for most people they would want to play, is Zelda, right? Mm-hmm. So, Switch has been, the 3DS has been out for a while, and all of those games have been out for a while. So if none of those games were enough to make you want to buy the system,
to begin with,
I don't think just a new system is enough. You're going to want to get something because you want to play it. And Zelda has been seemingly the game that gets people interested enough to
Mhm.
buy the system.
Do you feel the same way, Dan? Or
Well, when I bought my 3DS, I bought it with Ocarina of Time 3D.
Right,
So
you-
Zelda was
Yeah.
the system seller.
and that was the first 3DS. I think
That
we
was the
talked about this
original
before, yeah.
3DS before the price drop.
Majora's Mask 3DS.
What?
No,
I have
we're
that
just
too.
going-
Oh
going
yeah,
back to
fuck that
argument.
conversation.
So yeah, so you got the 3DS with Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like bundled together, but
No,
yes, I got that. It was like the original 3DS. It was like $300 fucking dollars. It was very expensive.
Very small.
And very small.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was into it from day one because I like Nintendo, and I knew that there was going to be like a Mario Kart and a
Pokemon and all that stuff.
Mario Brother 3D Land. Like that was cool. That was a great game. New Pokemon, yeah, of course. And basically, that's what sells. I feel like most Nintendo consoles. It's like that's the only way to play Nintendo games.
The
Yeah.
promise of future content.
Yeah, and it's always the same games like Smash, Mario Kart.
But they're always
Donkey Kong.
good. I think it was Andrew, that community member.
Community member Andrew.
Andrew. He was like, "Why would you ever buy a Switch?" Because I mean, just some of the things are a little weird, like that the dock isn't. It like cuts the frame rate a little bit if you're.
Yeah, we were playing
playing, like,
3-player
multiplayer.
Mario Kart, and it was
Yeah, and it
kinda
just
choppy.
wasn't great. And he was like, "Why would you ever buy a Switch?" And I was like, "Because Mario Kart is always good. Zelda's
Yeah.
always good. Like there's just they have those characters, and they
Yeah.
have those games. It's just
You're not gonna get
Yeah.
them anywhere else.
yeah, you can't.
Right.
No matter what, a PlayStation like clone racer of Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Won't be as good.
And even Mario Kart 8, like that's one of the best Mario
Mario
Karts
Kart,
you could get.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
especially with this Switch version.
With
It's
the-
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the
You could
best
bring it
Mario
on the
Kart's ever
go.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the amount of content you get.
Like
just-
Mario Kart 7 was like that's the 3DS one. That was my favorite for a while because that was just like you could take this full Mario Kart game on the go with you, and it looked great.
Was that the Mario Kart that like you broke your 3DS playing? The
Yeah,
joystick
well,
got
it
fucked up or
didn't.
whatever?
It didn't
It was like
break.
wear and tear or whatever.
Yeah, it was like I had it in my backpack because I was taking it like with me on my commute.
Yeah.
And so I guess just from being in my backpack, the R button got broken, smushed, and you can't. The R button is to power slide in Mario Kart, so like,
It's like
that's
essential.
the whole game. I
Yeah,
can't
there it
I
goes.
can't play the game if I don't have the R button, so I had to get a new one, and I stood in GameStop while they transferred all my files for like
All your
Jeez.
blocks.
2 fucking hours. It was insane.
All 3,000 blocks or
Yeah.
whatever they use as their fucking measurement system in that.
Yeah,
Oh
He was
man.
doing that since GameCube.
blocks.
Yeah, we were talking about Negs and I were talking about it was Mario. No, it was
The
I'm sorry, it was
Wii.
Ganji and I
Oh,
were
and-
also talking
yeah.
about Mario Kart Wii. Was it just called Mario Kart Wii?
Yes,
Probably.
And how that was like our least favorite Mario.
that
Kart.
is the
I
worst Mario
did
Kart.
not like that Mario Kart. We played it while we were in. We played it when we were in Cornell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, this is the worst Mario Kart.
And like all the people that we were there with, who lived there, that was like the Mario Kart they played, and they loved it. And I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, well, when
What
you
world do
go
I
back
have to-
home and you can play Mario Kart 64, the greatest game ever made.
Double Dash.
Double Dash. was
Second
Double
that.
Dash. Double Dash.
No,
Yeah,
Double Dash
Double
is
Dash,
great,
Double
but
Dash is great.
64
Baby
is,
Park.
64 is a
10.
classic.
Yeah, I mean,
But
Yeah.
Double Dash is
the
better.
N64 classic confirmed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Dash is great. I agree.
Yeah, it's too good.
yeah, so that's how we're feeling on the 2DS. I like that they finally like gave it a clamshell design.
Yeah, it looks great.
Because that was a big complaint from the first iteration of that was people were afraid that it was gonna get like smashed or something because there's no cover on it. Kind of
Yeah.
very much like the Switch. There's
Yeah.
I'm very like careful about bringing my Switch around and I put it in the case. I like make sure it's all strapped in and
Yeah.
everything because I don't
Buckled
have
in.
yeah. I mean it's a giant screen. It's like a phone or an iPad. I
Yeah.
dropped my phone yesterday and I almost had a heart attack. Dropped it on a concrete middle of the street.
They gotta
yesterday.
get like Incipio or whatever to make some cases for them.
Yeah, they have
Or Otterbox.
Is it Hori?
Otterbox
Hori? Is that how you pronounce
Switch
it?
case.
Hori. They
Yeah,
have
I guess.
that's the other team that has been making. They do like fight sticks and stuff too, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Now you need that. You need the rubber case inside the hard plastic case.
Yes.
So you,
Oh, that's what my phone has.
yeah. So,
So it's
like,
like the
if
rubber on the
you-
sides.
it'll
and,
smash the ground sooner
Yeah.
than
yeah,
it'll
I've
smash
got,
the phone.
I've got a nice thick like bumper
Yeah.
before my screen hits the.
Just make the Switch
As I
really,
smash my
really
phone.
unruly to hold.
yeah, pretty much.
That's not what you need.
Yeah, so I was streaming yesterday. 2 days ago. Streaming some Mario Kart. Streaming
Nice.
some Puyo Puyo Tetris. And loving streaming the Switch. A game I was not able to stream. Persona 5. I was very upset. Atlas came out. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. They were like, don't stream this. And like within the guidelines for the streaming, they were saying all these names and all these places, and I was like, I don't know what any of this is. Stop telling me all about this. Stop telling me about the game and your guidelines for what I can and can't spoil for other people when you're spoiling things for me. They came out and they said, we've revised our policy on streaming.
Mm-hmm.
You used to not be able to stream. You couldn't stream past 7/7 in the game because the game, is based on a calendar year. So that was a point in the game, which I will say now that I am at the very end of the game, finally, 95 hours in, still going strong.
Jeez.
That's about 30 hours worth of game to get to the point where they told
That's
you
a lot
couldn't
of streaming.
which is a lot of streaming. And at the time, I think a lot of people who've played Persona probably knew that it was pretty long. But to a lot of other people who weren't familiar, because this Persona did blow up a lot bigger than a lot of the other ones, were like, oh, you're restricting me at 7/7, not really knowing when the game starts or even, how long that would be. It was restrictive, and it said the first 3 palaces don't show these specific parts. And so they revised that to November. The end of November in the game. I think it's November 21st. I don't have the exact date on me. Which makes a lot of sense because that is when the story... That is when the final arc, I guess is the best way to put it, begins. So that is when you're getting into all of the twists and the turns and the revelations of a lot of the things that have been building. So that's part that I understand, That's part of the game. You don't want that, I guess, being on the internet all over the place because then people can just, watch that abridged kind of part and get the story. And so I'm curious to gauge if you guys are surprised that Atlas ended up changing their rules, or if you're even if this should have just been from the start. People could have just streamed the game, and the restrictions on streaming. I guess how you feel about that.
You go.
Okay.
Negger's ready to go.
I just, to me, it was almost when it came out that they were letting you stream further into the game. It felt like it was a part of a plan in some weird way. Almost like to start off all right, guys, you can stream this much now, right? And then you give people some time. A lot of people start playing the game, and then people are getting there, and they're like, all right, well, now you can stream just a little bit further. Just go a little bit further, and then maybe in a month from now, you get all the way. You can finish it off, or they give you right up until the final, the very last thing.
95
That's what you can
hours
stream.
You can stream 95 hours of our 110-hour game.
But
That's
maybe
fair.
that could very well be a thing that they're sort of. It's almost like a planned streaming service, or it could just be people were complaining too much, and they're like, all right, guys, just whatever. I don't know what to say.
When that original announcement came out, they said it was subject to change, so I'm not surprised that they changed it. But if this was a planned thing, they should have told people that, because obviously people were going to have the highest overreaction to...
But maybe they felt that the overreaction was good because they get a lot of people talking about the game.
But in a negative way.
But not
enough.
about the game. They're talking about the company who
Yeah.
makes the game.
But that's okay.
I guess. They're
I
just
think-
these guys are dicks. What are they doing?
Yeah, a lot of
I
it
don't
was
know.
they don't get it. They don't get streaming culture. They don't understand. Because somebody who's going to go watch a Persona 5 stream knows that they're going to get things spoiled for them. They clearly don't care. They clearly want to see the game. And
It's delayed gratification
Right.
versus instant gratification.
And also, hindsight is 20/20, and I think now we know, oh, this is what they should have said in that original press. Instead of saying the date 7/7, they should have said, 7/7, approximately 40 hours into the game. 7/7 could be in-game time a week into it. If you didn't know.
exactly.
I didn't know the game starts in April, but it does, and that's a good amount of time to play and to stream.
And that's a lot to show off.
Yeah.
Because you
There's a lot that
basically
goes on
get
in that 40
you
hours.
basically get minus story stuff every facet of the game. You
Yeah.
get the social links, you get the combat, you get
The
the
whole
dungeons,
tutorial.
you get
Right.
you pretty much get introduced to a majority of the cast at that point.
But maybe
There are
that's
characters that still
if
show
it's-
up later
if
on.
that is a very specific thing, like I'm saying, maybe that is. It almost could seem well. Obviously, it was intentional for them to hit that spot, and then that's why. Now it's you get all the characters, you understand how the game works. If you've watched or streamed all of this stuff, you really know what this game is about. Now you can take it that step further and sort of dig your streaming teeth or viewing teeth into the where the story goes from there. What happens? It's almost like releasing it in seasons in a sense.
Right.
Which I mean, maybe I'm giving them more credit for it, but to me, it's kind of cool.
No,
I
think it could have been cool if they had handled it better.
Right.
Fair enough.
Because I like your idea there. I like the idea of handling it in sort of seasons and sort of pieces. Had they articulated that well and kind of expressed that appropriately, I think everybody would have pretty much been on board with that. It's like watching TV. It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had a little bit of break in between, and you watch more.
I think they just really didn't want people spoiling important parts of the game. That's most of it, and then not even in the sense of like, oh, you're streaming it, but it's like, oh, you're streaming this part of the game, and then it gets picked up by other people and spread around, and it's like there's no way to control the way your story is told once it's out there.
It's wildfire.
Yeah, exactly.
David, I'm curious to gauge your thoughts. You're pretty far removed from Persona 5.
Very
from a whole...
One trailer I've watched.
How do you feel about streaming in general? Do you think it helps games? Do you think it hurts games that are solely story-based?
I think streaming helps games in general, but it does probably hurt story games more for people who, like, are just like, oh, like, I don't need to buy this game, I just like the story. We'll call it a day. Because for me, like, I buy story games for the story, and I don't want it spoiled for me or anything like that. But I could also understand being like, oh, I'm just curious about this. I don't really care about the gameplay because it looks kind of boring. And then you just watch the stream.
Right.
And then you're not gonna buy it. So I can understand that it would hurt it that way.
Did you play Firewatch by any chance? Or any
No.
game where you just kind of like a walking simulator of sorts?
No, but I wanted to play Firewatch.
Right.
But it would also make sense if I was like, oh, I don't really have the $20 right now. I'll just watch the stream.
Exactly. That was my kind of point to that. Was you could could find somebody streaming that game. You could probably find a full playthrough on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
You could just watch that game, save yourself the money.
Mm-hmm.
But then of course you don't support the developer.
Right.
They don't see a return on that. So it's kind of that double-edged sword of if you really care about the game, you should buy it so you support the people making the game.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, it's like it is available for you if you wanted to, and it's almost like watching a movie. You know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because What Remains of Edith Finch is a good example of that. I found out the game's only 2.5 hours. It's a short game.
Right.
That's the length of a movie. I could go and just watch that
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube and be done with it. And I kind of like the idea that I don't know anything about this game, so I'll get an experience either way. If I play the game, obviously I'm more immersed in it. I'm living in that world. It's my version of that story.
I think that game specifically is meant to be played, and I know that like all games are meant to be played, but like there's some you can get away with just watching, getting the full
like Injustice story mode.
Like you could just go watch those cutscenes. You don't have to play that game.
I watch every fatality in Injustice and be good. Or whatever. They're not
that's
fatalities. They're whatever.
Gosh, I wish they had fatalities.
Yeah, what are they? They're
so
like
much
they just like knock them out or
So
something.
nice. Yeah, they just get hit to the ground hard.
Do the villains have fatalities in that game?
No, they even took those out.
Oh.
So like, and they didn't really even have fatalities in.
They were just like, what are they actually called?
Knockouts.
No, well, they're called
punch.
super moves.
Ugh.
It's like a super or whatever. But like, so every time you beat somebody in Injustice, like let's say you're playing as the Joker and you beat Batman, the sort of like outro dialogue thing is the Joker would take a fuel canister, pour it over the person he beats, and then throw a match at them.
Uh-huh.
And like you wouldn't see the person on fire, but you would see like the Joker. You'd be looking at the Joker, and there'd be fire coming up from the bottom of the screen,
Right.
implying that he had just burned the person that he
Right.
beat. And Ares had a bunch of swords, and he threw swords at the person, but you didn't see that either. To me, like those were kind of cool because that's what villains would do if they beat people.
Yeah.
And they took that out
brutally
completely.
murder them.
Yeah, they took it all out completely to make it even more toned down than it was, and it's just like I don't know if it's a DC thing or if it's just like a fear. I don't know what it is. I don't like they had to tone down the fatalities for Mortal Kombat versus DC because DC didn't want like Superman's head being ripped off.
That I remember. That was my first.
That's a reasonable thing.
But also like
Listen,
I don't know.
It's a Mortal Kombat game.
he wouldn't. But he like
don't
wouldn't
make
kill
a
people.
partnership.
But it's whatever, they wanted to sell games, bro. You don't want to just sell
They
like a
would've
DC
sold
game. Oh,
games.
Batman's in this game. I love Batman. I'm 5. And so I'm gonna play this. Oh God.
Oh, God, his heart was ripped out of his chest.
Batman. No.
Oh,
He can't kill
okay.
people in that game, but he can kill people in BVS.
Hey man, I don't know anything about that. I just work for Warner Brothers Games.
So
I have
So
no
that's
part in that.
okay, but
I'm not saying that's okay either.
no. But like, it's
Shot
bad.
a
It's bad to
flamethrower,
rip
blew up a
Batman's
building.
heart out, but for Jax to smush people's heads, but their heads don't actually come off; they just flatten. That's better.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, man.
It's
That's
just-
kind of funny.
Love the
It's
Walking
like it's a campy. It was a
Yeah.
campy Mortal
No,
Kombat
just
game.
smushing heads.
It was a campy Mortal Kombat game, and that was the problem with it.
I had fun playing it.
Friday the 13th comes out.
I
speaking
wish
of
they would
camp.
make another one. Honestly, what?
I said Friday the 13th game comes out soon. Speaking of camp,
Sick.
I didn't-
Can't wait.
Friday the 13th. Yeah, I got that one right. I mixed it up last time. Forgot what we were talking about, but
Nightmare
I
Before Elm
we were
Street.
talking about
Or
Nightmare Before Elm Street, but I called
not
it Friday
before
the
Elm
13th.
Street. That's
The
fucking
Nightmare
stupid.
Before Elm Street.
Just right before it.
you were like talking. I was like, yeah, Nightmare Before Elm Street. Like,
It's actually-
Nope,
it's actually-
nope.
no,
I
it's
said
actually
it, and I
Elm
was like, nope, that's
and
not
I
correct.
totally ran with it. I was like, yeah, that's the game. I messed it up again. I'll never get that name right.
It's actually Oak Street the nightmare happens on. It's the one right before.
Nightmare Before Elm Street. Nightmare on Oak Street. Oh man, it's been a day. Yeah, Friday the 13th comes out. I thought that game's been in like development forever. I feel like I just keep
Yeah,
hearing
yeah,
things
and then
about
they
it.
did. Like Dead by Daylight came out, and they're like, "Oh shit, this is the exact same game." No,
Oh no, they beat us to the punch. We worked on this game way too long.
but they still have the license, so like that's pretty cool.
yeah, so they can actually use Jason,
Jason.
not Freddy. Freddy Krueger is Nightmare Before Elm Street.
Right before it.
Right before it. It's on Oak Street. Oh,
It's
man.
actually Jack Kruger.
Is it?
Jack's. Never mind.
Jack Skellington. Okay,
don't
I
worry about
understand.
it.
I've only seen the one Nightmare Before Elm Street, the the newer one, I guess, the one that was made in like 2009 or 2010.
The one with that guy from Watchmen.
I never saw Watchmen.
Yeah, better. Whatever.
I never saw Watchmen.
Alright.
Never
I like
read
the
it.
movie, but
I mean, it was enjoyable.
I don't think you would enjoy it.
That's fair. It's a long movie. It's like 3 hours, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't got,
long.
If
nobody's
you watch the director's cut, it's like 4 hours.
Nobody's got that time. Nobody's got time for that. Benjamin Button, no one's got time for that. All right. Well, I mean, that's kind of all the news that I had for this week. David, you are a guest, so I will ask you, what have you been playing?
Really just Horizon. Yeah, I just bought that
Ooh.
last week. It's a ton of fun. It's massive, which is also great because I really
Correct.
wanted I was gonna almost just like buy a Switch and get Zelda because I was really just like looking for an open world game and for all that. And then I saw it was like on back order and everything like that, and went, I'll just save $300 and somewhat dollars and just get
Buy Horizon.
Horizon and call it a day. That's the PlayStation version
True.
of Zelda right now. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. There's so much to discover. I really anticipated it being easier than it is. like I thought it was just gonna be like, all right, like we'll just like kind of drag you through the story and it'll be fun, it'll be colorful, like all that. Like we'll make it pretty in depth and you can do some side quests and like you won't have too hard of a time killing all these dinosaurs. But they are fucking hard. Like they're so hard. And I find myself sometimes like I'll just be like running through something and then someone like a robot dinosaur sees me and then they all see me and then I'm just running for hours because I'm just like nope, I can't.
Can confirm.
I'm
We'll watch
not
David
doing
play
this.
a little bit.
Like it's
He ran a lot.
crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm having a good time with it, and the story's really in depth, too, which I've enjoyed. It's like I've actually taken the time to like, because they give you all the questions you can ask people and stuff, and I actually have taken the time to like ask every question and find out as much as I can about these like new tribes and new cities and all that stuff. And it's interesting to see like this world 1,000 years in the future and all that.
I have a question for you. Did
Yeah.
you play any of the Killzone games?
A little.
Okay, so that's fine. When you played Killzone, did you ever imagine the same company would make this game?
No.
Right?
Not a chance. Not a
Do you
chance
think
at
that
all.
they did a good job at their sort of first open world new
Definitely.
IP game? Do you think they did a
Yeah.
good job? Negs, you've been playing Horizon, right?
Yeah.
How far along do you think you are?
The last time I checked my percent, I was like,
Oh, so there's a percentage in game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
just,
game.
found, I just found mine
Oh,
recently.
what are you at?
25.
Okay, so yeah, you're
Yeah.
pretty
I'm
early
like
on.
53.
All right.
I think.
Do you think the game 53% of the way through is still going pretty strong? You still enjoying
Yeah,
yourself?
it's a good game. I mean, like, I'm enjoying it for sure, but I don't think it's a game of the year game by any means.
I mean, it's a hard year to.
right. No, but
to the
yes,
game of the year.
right. If it came out like 2 years ago or whatever, I'm sure it would have won Game of the Year easy.
Do you think it could have won last year up against games like Doom and Overwatch and?
No,
some
nothing was
shooters?
going to beat Overwatch.
Do you? And I
mean,
guess it wouldn't beat Uncharted 4 either.
Yeah, I
Do you think it can rival Uncharted 4?
I feel like it's on par with Uncharted 4.
Okay.
Both are like good games. Both are enjoyable. I got a little bit more enjoyment out of Uncharted, just because like it's really like a compilation of the whole series.
It's the end of an era.
That,
it's the end of
an
era.
Which is what I really liked about it. And Horizon's sort of just getting started, in a sense, which is kind of cool. It's just the things that frustrate me with Horizon will always be things like, why can't I get on this rock?
Yes.
Why the fuck can I not get on this rock?
That is my main gripe with this game.
And I watched David try to just jump up a small ledge, and it was like, no, you're really gonna have to walk just around this rock to get up the
What bothers me so much is the things they let you climb. She's fantastic at it.
Right.
She's the best rock climber in the world.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Bare-handed.
And then you go to bare hand, like perfect, and climb a rope, like jump and like catch on to something. The way she rappels down is like absolutely like a free fall, and then she hooks it. Like, and you're telling me you find like a ledge with some good grips, and you're like, not today.
No, I can't do that.
Like, I don't see that happening.
No,
This like outcast huntress.
No.
I was watching David play this two nights ago with Mike. We were in David's house, and Mike was saying how he likes the idea that you can't climb everything because it makes sense contextually that there are a lot of things that she can't climb, which is fair. I mean, she shouldn't be able to scale a mountain for no conceivable reason.
Right, of course.
But these ledges,
there are plenty of things that she should be able to climb.
And I said it could be as simple as like, we're so far in the future that it's kind of the past in a weird sense. That they could easily just say, "Oh, she's got some like mechanical gloves on her hands that give her a good grip, so she can dig into the side of something to climb up it a little bit, very much like Link can in Legend of Zelda." And in Link, they don't have to give you really context for it; you could just do it. Yeah. With Horizon, they could make it as simple as, "Oh, she's got some gloves."
But they don't even need to do that. They just need to make more things a little bit more things climbable, like to have. These specific white layers, and it's the only way you can get up is just
Now, I'm
annoying.
curious for both of your opinions on this. Do you think that is because they truly believe that like they want you to go the almost the linear sense of the way, like they want you to go the way that they've kind of crafted you to go in this scenario? Or do you think it's just because it's their first open world game, they've still got like lessons to learn? It's
a bit of both, because on one part it's that they want to control where the players go and give them exactly where they need to go to get up these things, and on the other hand, it's like it's way easier to just make it so that you could get up one way versus 8,000 ways.
That's fair.
Yeah, because there was like one point I was doing what is it, tall neck or long neck?
Yeah.
So I was like doing one of those missions, and there was like a few different spots that looked like, oh, that's the path, I'll just jump on from there. And I was trying to get this one spot, and I was just like,
right.
No, you actually have to go around and then like zip line down, and then you can get to this spot. Yeah, and I was just like,
is the game
silly.
Good at telling you that, whether it's visually or contextually?
Sometimes it's really hard to see the places you can climb, especially and there's a lot of snowy areas. So what you can actually climb on rocks and stuff like that is like you'll see like a little bit of like white that's supposed to look different from the other parts of the rock face.
Like the rocks you grab on in Uncharted.
Yeah.
They're sort of jutted out.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. In the Cauldron that I watched you play, I saw that a lot of things were glowing. The things that you could climb were like these glowing pipes and stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
So the game, it gives you visual clues, but they're not the best visual clues.
Yeah, and
sometimes they're not. Other times it's like, all right, obviously, whatever. I'll go this way. I don't have a choice.
Yeah. Okay. They do a good job of having her vocalize a lot of cues and stuff, which I always appreciate. Like, she'll tell you if like she senses a signal or something like that, or like kind of like hot or cold, like she's in a good spot or she's going the wrong way.
Cool. I'm got it. Dan, do you have any plans on Horizon? Getting it, maybe playing it in the future?
Nah, I've still got Zelda and I've still got Persona to play. Those are both massive undertakings.
Yeah, you got a long time ahead of you. Mike said he'll probably die playing Persona.
That's fine.
Like that'll be the game he plays until the end of time.
I mean, he'd go out fun. He'd be happy.
Yeah, I think he'd be good. You been playing anything else, Dave?
Just Overwatch.
How's that going?
It's good. A little Binding of Isaac, actually, also.
Ooh, let's talk about that. We've actually have not talked about Binding of Isaac on this podcast before. What is your... Do your best to kind of describe what Binding of Isaac is, to your knowledge of what you've played.
It's a dungeon crawler.
Okay.
The map changes every time you do a run, and you don't really know what you're gonna find in any level. I don't even think I've gotten to like the last boss or whatever because I just always die.
Okay.
Every time because it gets pretty hard. But as you you'll do your first run and you really don't get much, and then you like a boss kills you or whatever, and then you do your second run, and I've started to find that like in my runs I'm getting more and more like different weapons and like items that I'm finding, and I'm like discovering new things every time I'm playing, which I think is really cool and like kind of has kept me coming back. And it's also just one of those games where you can like just throw on Spotify or like whatever else you want to listen to and just kind of like zone out for a minute, which is why I keep playing it, because I think I don't know, it was like $2 once on the PlayStation Store, so I just downloaded it and just leave it.
It's coming to Switch.
It's on Switch.
Really? So is that currently on Switch?
Yeah.
It's on Switch.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game if you're just looking for something like quick. I mean, it's like from Marvel vs. Capcom for me. Like that's a game if I have like 10 minutes or something, like waiting for someone to pick me up or something, like I'll play around or something. Like Binding of Isaac is kind of in that sense for me because I don't care if I can just pause it and walk away.
Right.
You know.
That's kind of how Enter the Gungeon was for me for a long time. Just kind of a similar idea. It's like, keep going through these floors. If you find more weapons, it's a roguelike or whatever. So you're enjoying Binding of Isaac. You're
yeah, it's fun.
Would you recommend?
Yeah. Especially for the price I got, which was under $10.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely worth the money.
That's everything. That's all you've been playing. All that stuff.
Yeah.
We've been playing a little Diablo.
Oh yeah, we did.
We started seasons characters.
Diablo.
Diablo.
And that will, Diablo will never not be fun.
Yeah, it's true. Diablo's a good time. Negs, what have you been playing? Anything other than Horizon, since we already kind of went into that pretty deep?
No. Dan just let me borrow Resident Evil 7, so I'll probably cut into that once I finish Horizon.
That's a quick one.
God, it's hard.
Yeah,
you might want to just take an interlude and play through.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm like,
it's like 8 hours.
Over halfway.
8 to 10.
Yeah.
I'm like over halfway with Horizon.
Negs real good at video games though. I watched him play Outlast. He could beat it in like very short amount of time.
I beat Journey, Oxenfree, and Inside each in one sitting.
Yeah.
Those are
relatively
games.
short.
I know,
games,
but still.
Right. A little less involved.
If you tried really hard, you could beat Resident Evil 7 in one sitting.
True. I beat those in under 3 hours, which I thought was pretty good.
There's a trophy for beating it under 4.
Resident Evil?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things you can skip in that game intentionally, and it becomes harder for you if you do those things, like if you skip those things. But if you know what you're doing, you can get through that game really quick.
I wanna beat Horizon first, also because like once I beat Horizon, then I'll start my season of Screams, if you will. Because I'm gonna have Resident Evil 7, I'm gonna buy Outlast 2, and I'm gonna get Little Nightmares.
Seasons of Screams. Seasons of streams.
Are you done with the main story
of Horizon? No.
Okay.
No. I've been trying to sort of
half and half.
Do all the side stuff when it makes sense. When I'm like, oh, you're like 250 steps from this side quest. Well, I'm already here. I'll just do it, and then I'll get on with my day.
Yeah.
Very much how you played Witcher. It was like you're in the area, you're going to clear out all the side quests before you move on.
Oh God, man.
All the side quests?
You're not
Witcher.
Negri did a lot, almost all
I
the
need
side
to go
quests.
back to beat that game. I will not beat that game. I did all of the side quests in The Witcher and all of the main stuff for like the base game, but I have all of the DLC.
Oh my God.
So I need to do all of that.
I didn't
so I have
beat
like
the main stuff.
Another 60 plus hours.
I tried to just crit path my way through The Witcher and just hit all the main stuff, and I still couldn't do it.
Yeah,
that was a hard game, Witcher.
Yeah,
I had a lot of trouble, and then it was really hard for a long time, and then like hour 35 or whatever, it got really easy.
You just Quen and then hit.
I just really I just got good at the game. I guess.
Get good.
Took me that long
though. So yeah, you're just mulling your way through Horizon, enjoying it, enjoying the sights.
Yeah, sure.
Dan, what have you been mulling through?
I just started yesterday, actually, The Witness. So
I can gush about The Witness.
The Witness came out on Mac in March,
Mhm.
but I hadn't played it since Zelda and stuff. But it was one of those games I got in that Humble Bundle that was like for charity.
Freedom Bundle, I think. It was.
And I bought it, and I was like, oh, the biggest name game in the bundle, like I can't play it because I don't have a PC. So I played it yesterday, and it's a lot of fun. It's I don't know, the way you discover, solutions to puzzles. It's like trial and error, but you're not mad when you make a mistake, Yeah,
you're always learning. You're always discovering something.
The game, literally in the game, in real life, when you are stuck at a point in whatever, you just take a walk, come back to it
Clear
later. Clear your head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like built into the game, that sort of mechanic. It's like you could stay at this puzzle for another hour or whatever. Not an hour, but whatever. And get frustrated and blah blah blah, or you can just take a walk around, see if there's some other puzzles you can complete, see if you've learned anything in that time that would help you finish those earlier puzzles, and just come back to it when you are ready.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I also watched a while ago. No Clip had a documentary about The Witness, and sort of Jonathan Blow and designing it, and sort of his career path that led him to The Witness. And to be fair, in that documentary, there's a lot of spoilery things of how to solve like the grander mysteries of The Witness. But I'm still having fun just trying to figure out puzzles. So it doesn't really take that much away from me.
Yeah.
And all the story that's presented in the game is all just kind of like lore based. It's all just like you go to an area and you just visually see like it's all visual storytelling.
That's cool.
It's all the
rundown, mine.
There are a couple audio logs that you pick up here and there throughout the island that will give you a little bit more context as to what's going on. But you kind of just you just see this world and you're kind of just trying to piece this stuff together yourself, and it really is a game all about just taking a walk, clearing your head, exploring, doing some puzzles.
Yeah. And the puzzles are really good.
Really good, really difficult, but every time you fail at a puzzle, you always feel like you're learning something.
Yeah.
Which is something I admire about, this is going to be a word comparison, but like the Soul series or Bloodborne or those games where it's you are getting better, you are always learning things in that game, and it's that sense of like player achievement, like personal achievement that you get from doing those.
Yeah.
And I beat The Witness last year. It was funny. Our friend is up from California, and the last time he was up is when this time last year when I got The Witness and I played through it. And I remember he was sitting here watching me play it, and I'm like banging my head against the wall trying to solve some of these puzzles. He's like, "How is this fun? Like, why are you doing this to yourself?" Because some of those later puzzles are pretty intense.
Yeah.
I will say that this isn't a spoiler. There's one part of the game that really bothers me because because the puzzles are kind of put in sections. So you go to this part of the island and solve this string of puzzles that all have a similar theme in solving them. There's one area of that game that you can go to, and you can go to pretty much any area at any point if you're smart enough to solve like the opening puzzle that kind of unlocks that area. And so there's an area that takes you across like a little like it's almost like a conveyor belt. It's like a little floating like sliding metal platform. And when you get to that area, it doesn't let you go back until you've solved the area.
Oh god.
So it's really frustrating because, and especially because it's an area that is kind of the puzzles are built upon you having a prior knowledge of another set of puzzles that you were supposed to do previously. So if you make it to that area without solving that earlier section, you didn't learn the lesson that this section is asking you to sort of do.
That's the lesson.
That's the lesson, Magic Man. You're a jerk. The Witness, you're a jerk. So I got to that area, solved the first puzzle because I kind of saw it because it's not a super difficult puzzle. And then I got to the area, and when it started getting more complicated, I was like, this is kind of taught me, but it didn't... Because some of those first puzzles are very clearly like, this is how this puzzle mechanic works. We're going to give you 5 of them in a row, and they're going to get slightly more difficult, so you kind of understand what we're asking you to do, and then we're going to give you these complicated puzzles. This was like, no, these are all just complicated puzzles, because we expected you to do this area earlier. And you can figure them out. I mean, I got through it. It took me a very long time, but I got through that section. That was the only thing that frustrated me about the game, was that one section, because it cut off exactly what you would describe, the idea that you could just take a walk and go do something else.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that because you're stuck in this area.
Right.
Because you're stuck with all
But
these
if you
these
had known better,
Had I not walked around and stumbled upon something, I probably shouldn't have even been on that side of the island.
Yeah.
Contextually, I guess, because the areas are kind of pretty near each other. I just got myself stuck in a kind of crazy.
Well, I just did most of the puzzles where they're all shaped like wheels on the ship, like the big.
Were you on the ship?
No, it's in the desert.
Okay. Oh yeah. The light puzzles.
Yeah, like that shit was so bad.
Yeah. And so you got the laser for the area?
No, I didn't get the laser.
Okay.
There. And I haven't like beat the area, but
okay.
I'm just like going through
those puzzles. Are pretty insane.
It's just like everything you've learned up until that point, assuming you're going sort of.
So you did like the little like boathouse area first. Like you get out of the game and go left. And
the boathouse area is really cool. There's the next area where it looks like I don't know, some kind of observatory type thing.
Okay, yeah.
And you find the puzzle that's like melted.
Yeah.
Like those areas are really, really cool. And then the next area is like the one with all the puzzles that are shaped like ships, and I'm just like, none of what I learned affects this.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to like solve it, I guess, the only way the game teaches you to solve it is like there's scratches on the puzzles.
Yeah,
it's like you could only see the scratches from a certain angle. It's like fuck you.
They're playing on the theme of like, oh, look at it from a different angle by literally going like standing on something and looking down on it from a different angle. And you'll notice like, oh, well, when I look at it this way, I can see this part. And then, like, you get to points where it's like, oh, this pillar is blocking the sunlight from hitting this, so I'm missing half of the puzzle. Like, there's actually parts I could draw in, but I can't see, so I have to go look at it this way. And the cool thing is you can interact with a lot of these puzzles from pretty much anywhere. So, because they're all screens. You can walk up to it and you would hit X on it or whatever, and they would kind of full screen it, and then you would draw in with the joystick. But there are some puzzles where you might have to be 100 yards out, and it's 100 yards away, and you're trying to draw it in because that's the only angle that you can like see the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
So it really plays on those kind of themes of.
Yeah, there was one puzzle I did where it's sort of on not one puzzle because it's a whole series of puzzles where it's on the shore and you see rocks outside. Do you guys mind if I spoil these puzzles?
No. Nope.
So you're on the shore, and there's rocks out in the ocean, and so basically they're all line puzzles, and you get a grid, and you can see the rocks in the grid, so you have to draw lines around the rocks to get to the finish.
So you have to be far enough out from the puzzle so that you can get the rocks in the grid, and then
so,
sort of draw around.
Like I was doing one puzzle where I was like focusing on like, oh, it's this rock, and I just go around it, and I do it, and then it's like, no, I was like. Like obviously this is how you solve this one, but then there were rocks that if I had moved to the left I would have seen, and those were the rocks I was supposed to trace over.
That's really interesting.
And what's really cool about this puzzle in particular is it's a grid, but you can draw from left to right from start to finish. You see the 2 points, like the start and finish line, so your first instinct is to just draw straight across, and and then it's like no, and you're like, okay, well there's clearly something here, but it's just a grid, so if you're not paying attention to the background, you're just like, I just have a grid. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I can draw this line all day, left to right, but it'll never do anything. Mm-hmm. And I think that's super interesting. I really like the way that game kind of builds on itself.
There's some parts where clearly it's very intuitive and they've taught you what you need to know, and then there's other parts where it's just like, just stand here and figure it out on your own.
Do you listen to the game like playing like? Do you play the game like listening to music or anything?
I was listening to some podcasts.
Okay, I will warn you that later on in the game you will have to listen.
Oh yeah, there's some audio. They talked about that in the.
That's the only like piece of advice I like to give people because I was listening to music for a long time and I remember like not really.
I remember you telling me
not paying attention to some of the audio cues, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I gotta turn my music off and like listen in for this thing now. Mm-hmm. But are you playing anything else? Anything other than that?
No, that's just what I was working on this weekend.
Cool. I'm excited to hear. Please keep us updated on the Witness because I love that game. I love to talk about it. I think it's super intuitive. I think everybody should play it at some point. Even if you only play a couple puzzles, it's generally on sale pretty often. You can I think I got it for $15, and you can get $15 worth of puzzles. And like some of those puzzles are some of the best puzzles I think I've ever had the pleasure of solving, especially some of the later ones on more of a grand scale. Mm-hmm. But you got anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up here? Anything anyone's got any final words on, or cool? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Okay.
Cool.
Got it.
Good. Glad. All right. That's going to do it for us this week. We are Gamerations. Digital download episode 44, the Bravo episode.
Bravo.
Tom Colicchio.
Tom Colicchio sponsors this podcast. No, he doesn't. You can check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, Snapchat, Friendster, Napster, LimeWire, FrostWire. You could fax us. Tinder, swipe left. Bumble, Coffee Meets Bagel, Cuddles, Hinge,
Farmers
Only, Plenty of Fish,
Okay
Cupid, My Bloody Valentine,
the 3D version,
Christian Mingle,
3D version. The movie. Okay, I was thinking of the band. That was a good pull. Piranhas in 3D.
Piranha 3 Double D.
3 Double D. Spy Kids 3D Game Over.
Great film.
Machete.
Check them out on the 3DS. You can't get that on the 2DS. Drop 5s at the door. Thanks for hanging. We will see you guys later.
Bye.